This podcast is brought to you by Podcast Nation.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Welcome to Nirvana Sisters podcast, where we take the intimidation out of well-being and beauty to help you achieve your highest state, your nirvana. We are sisters-in-law and your hosts. I'm Amy Sherman.
And I'm Katie Chandler. So let's get into some real conversation.
Welcome back to Nirvana Sisters family. It's Amy and Katie, and we are here with Dr. Alisha Reed, and so excited to talk to her. We met online, and we've been wanting to chat with her for so long. She's got amazing content on her Instagram and has such an interesting story. So I'll read a little bit about Alisha before we get into it. So the FLY Pharmacist, self-care strategist, and founder of lifestyle brand FLY with Alisha Reed. Dr. Reed was born and raised in New Orleans, where she attended Xavier University of Louisiana and received a doctorate of pharmacy degree. Dr. Reed has been a licensed pharmacist for almost 2 decades and has seen firsthand how self-care impacts health in the community. The FLY Pharmacist acts as an advocate to empower and educate her community to make self-care a priority in their lives. As a self-care strategist, Dr. Reed provides the tools and training necessary to create a successful self-care plan. She is a widow mom who believes that self-care is non-negotiable, totally agree with that, and is determined to break that generational curse that strong women don't take breaks, which I can't wait to hear more about. That's such an interesting thing to think about. Self-care has become such a buzzword, but the truth is that self-care is whatever you need it to be. After losing her husband, Dr. Reed wanted to normalize grief by publicly sharing her grief journey while continuing to practice exceptional self-care. Dr. Reed moderates a widow support group and hosts the Fly Widow podcast. And one quote I also just wanted to say, I was reading in your Southern Living article, congratulations, by the way, and it said, I love this quote, it says, "Everyone thinks that self-care has to be a spa day or massage or a pedicure," she says, "but it's doing whatever you need to do to feel like you again," which I really, really loved. And that really resonated with me. So welcome to the show, Dr. Reed. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. This is one of my favorite topics. So
yes.
I'm super excited to get to share more with you.
Yeah, us too. So we always like to start the show with our Nirvana of the week or day, something that brought us joy this week, something that, brought a smile to our face. So I will pass it off to you, Katie.
Thank you, Amy. Well, it is such a pleasure to meet you, Dr. Reed. Should we call you Alisha, Dr. Reed?
Alisha is fine.
Okay, great. So yeah, it's great to have you here. My Nirvana of the day, it happened on Friday. I think we had our first day that it felt like spring here. I'm in Connecticut on the East Coast, Alisha, and I feel like it's spring everywhere but here. We're the last to get it. And I just spent the day outside with my daughter, with my 4-year-old after school for like 2 hours, just, playing around, exploring the yard, taking a walk, having her on her bike, all that fun stuff. So it was really nice to just be out in nature again and not be freezing cold, and the fresh air and, the sounds of spring. It was great. It brought me a lot of nirvana. What about you, Amy?
That's so good. Mine was yesterday morning. I spent, maybe a half an hour doing a recipe with Jules, my younger son, who's 12. And he's been a little, he's in middle school. He just started middle school this year. And he's been a little, he's getting a little sassy and doesn't like to spend as much time with me. He talks back. And so he wanted to make this like dessert recipe thing. And so I was like, okay. So we did it together, and it was really nice to kind of just step back and like read a recipe and get the ingredients out and do it step by step, because I feel like in my kids' world, Alisha, I have a 12 and a 15-year-old. And I know you have a son too. Like, they're running around and everything's so quick. It's like, can we order dinner? Let's buy it on Amazon. Like, there's no perseverance, I feel like. So just to like read the recipe and like do everything step by step in the order and wait. And, it was just nice to kind of take a moment and spend time with him and do that. And he was like cute. And like, I loved just doing that little project with him.
Oh.
So it was fun. It brought me a lot of joy yesterday morning. So what about you?
So we had our air show here in New Orleans. It's been 5 years since the Blue Angels performed or did their flight show in New Orleans. So my son and I, we went there, and it was really good to be outside. The weather was perfect, not a cloud in the sky. We watched all the airplanes do their tricks, and it was a real cool mom and son day. You know, you think about, what we can do together, and it was just great. He got a little Cub Scout patch because that's something that he needed to do to check up on his list. And we just had a great day eating chicken tenders and fries and watching all the planes do their tricks. And one of the most interesting things was my cell phone wouldn't work because we were in like an airspace. We're on the naval base. And, sometimes we talk about disconnecting from our phones, but I couldn't send anything. I couldn't post anything. And I was essentially without the use of a phone for 4 hours. And that for me was really good because we were actually just present with each other. And it was a great day.
So important.
That sounds amazing. How old is he?
6. Going on 30.
I understand that. That's a fun age, though. 6 is really sweet. Yeah, that sounds great. Nice. All right. Well, should we get right into it? I want to kick it off. And Alisha, if you could give our audience a bit of a background within your career. You're a pharmacist. How did you get into all of that? And how did your career really get you diving deep into self-care? How did that come about?
Sure. So I've been a pharmacist for 18 years, almost 19. And I was always interested in helping people and science and all of that. But I didn't want to go to school forever, like doctors. You spend all that time in school. So pharmacy was a 6-year program. And I felt like that was long enough to get into the profession, the healthcare profession. Really enjoyed it. Did retail, which pharmacy, CVS, Walgreens, all those big boxes that, as a pharmacist, that's where you go when you first start. But it was just so busy. And we were always rushing, anxious, didn't have time to eat, didn't have, breaks and long hours. And I really thought about like, that's not what I want for life. I don't want to be rushing all the time and have anxiety. So I stepped away from retail and chose another area of pharmacy, which was managed care. And I was able to work for a health plan. And in that, we focused on like a lot of metrics and just checking to see how people managed their health. And it was at that moment, I realized that we can do a lot to prevent health conditions and, these disease states. And as a pharmacist, I fill the prescriptions, but it costs a lot of money for people. It's not always accessible. So I wanted to think about ways that people could help with their health conditions and do things that didn't require a lot of money, instead of having most times, yes, you do have to take your medicine, people, because I don't want people to say, oh, no, I don't take my medicine. But just being able to counsel patients on lifestyle modifications, because that's big. You have diabetes and you take your medicine every day. But if you aren't following a diet or exercising, it's really not going to work. So for me, that was the whole connection to pharmacy and the self-care world. So I launched a brand in 2014. I thought of the brand. It was Nola Bougie, and it was for women because I wanted women to understand that even though we were moms and wives and caregivers, that we were still women. And I didn't want to have to give up the things that I love because I chose to be a mom or a wife. So out of that brand, it was just about inspiring women to just be their best selves. And I did that. I officially launched in 2017. And in 2019, I lost my husband. And when my husband passed, I didn't want to do it anymore because I felt like that was something that we did together. And I was done. I was done with it. And I didn't want to do it. And my audience reached out and they said, you inspired us to do so much as a mom. and as a wife, that you can't give up. You can't leave us here. And we want you to inspire yourself. All the stuff that you're telling us, we want you to do. And I thought about it and I said, you know what? I need to keep going, but I didn't want to keep going as Nola Bougie. So I rebranded as FLY. So FLY is first love yourself, because it was always about loving you. And I learned that on this grief journey, I had to figure out who I was again, because I was a mom for 4 years. I was a wife for, almost 6. And now my life had changed. So it was just all about loving myself. And I continue to take the women on the journey with me. And that's where I am now.
That's amazing. It's so empowering, your story and your journey. I kind of want to unpack it a little because I have a few questions within it.
Mm-hmm.
To go back to management care. I have never heard of this. I see pharmacists. I have autoimmune conditions. I have to take so much medication. It's obnoxious. And I see these pharmacists, and just like you said, they are busting their butts all day long. And it seems like a thankless job. They're just over and over and over and over again. New customer, new customer, new customer. It looks like it's a really long day and really hard work. So this management care, is that what you said? Or managed care?
It's managed care. It's
okay.
Within a healthcare plan. So when you have your insurance card and you fill your prescription, there are pharmacists working with the health plan to determine what medications should be offered or should be covered. So a lot of times you may fill a prescription and they'll say, oh, this medication is not covered by your health plan, or it needs a prior authorization. Right. So as a pharmacist, I was a part of the team that researched the medicines to figure out which ones were best for our patients. And then also on the other end, talk to patients about their health condition. So I did what's called medication therapy management. And that's when you do a whole review of medications with the patient and talk to them about their health condition. So, if with your autoimmune disorder, we would talk about your medications, but then also talk about what you're doing. Like, let's say stress. I mean, stress is a number one cause of flare-ups for a lot of conditions. So we would talk about your stress management. Like, what are you doing for stress? Like, what does your diet look like? So all of that goes into healthcare. And for me, it's almost like self-care is healthcare, because you have to, all those things work together, not just taking the prescription.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm sure that was probably a lot more fulfilling just generally speaking, than being behind the counter at a CVS or something too, which is really, really cool. And so you're not doing that anymore. You are still
I still am. I work for a hospital now, and it's kind of like the same thing. It's not managed care, but I'm doing home-based primary care. So I'm also a member of a care team like I was before, and get a chance to talk to patients and review their medicines and give information and help. So it's very similar. And I find that that's like my sweet spot. That's what I love to do. And most people ask, will you ever quit your job? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would, but I love it.
But you enjoy it, right?
I enjoy it. So it's not something that I dread doing or, going to work. So I enjoy it. I know it's rewarding.
And you probably learn new things by all the different people that you meet, and you probably hear so many different stories. So I can imagine it's really interesting. And really sorry to hear about your husband. That's just, it's just so hard to go through, but really proud to see that you have powered on and that your community has encouraged you to do so, because I'm sure it's helped you heal. So that's, tough stuff. Okay, so moving right along, let's talk about self-care and beauty, because all of your content on Instagram has so many fun tidbits about all the new stuff you're trying and all the new things you're doing. So tell us about kind of what you look for in products and kind of what your favorite things are to shop for and look for. I mean, your skin is glowing, literally, guys. Her skin is so gorgeous. It is glowing.
Thank you. I also find that the beauty products, I really enjoy looking at the ingredients. I think, and it's probably because of the pharmacy
Well, you
background.
probably know
Right.
what they are more than
Yeah.
most people.
And I think about, chemistry and like being in the labs and all that. So for me, I really like to look at the labels. Um, Obviously, less is better. Less ingredients is better. So I look at that. I also look at, whether or not there are additives or, the parabens, a lot of things that shouldn't be in products. It's clean beauty is what I'm really paying attention to. One of the most interesting things is that cosmetics are not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration.
Mhm.
And whereas if you get a prescription, it is, but not cosmetics. So essentially anyone can put something out there and, people buy it because of marketing and, they don't really pay attention. So I want to be that person to educate and share, okay, this is a good product. So not necessarily endorsing and promoting products, which is something that I really try to stress as well. I'm really looking at ingredients and whether or not it works for me. And I like to share that. It's not so much a sponsored post or anything. So
Right.
I like to educate and let, my followers know this is what you need to look for. You need to pay attention to how it's manufactured, where, what's in it, check your allergies because there's a lot of things that you may not be able to use because, if you have a shellfish allergy. So that is that's my standard, like when I'm picking up a product and looking at.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I'm loving right now or like what I'm really into is just clean skin. I'm not so much into makeup. I love makeup, but I find that if you take care of your skin, then, makeup is optional,
Totally. It's
So
like the cherry on top. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really focus on serums and collagen. I'm really big on that right now, just making sure that I have the collagen and the probiotics diet. All of that goes into like my self-care and beauty routine. So I shared the other day about collagen. My nutritionist has me mixing it in the collagen powder, the proteins in my coffee because we're looking at my diet and ways to incorporate protein. And she's like, why don't you try the collagen peptides? So I've been doing that for about a month now. And I like it.
Which brand is it? Is it the
This is the Vital Proteins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
tried that.
So I
That's a
have
good
that. They also have the water. So I have the collagen water, the shots. A lot of people don't realize that collagen helps with the skin elasticity. So, you want to make sure that you are supplementing the collagen. You want to find good collagen because there are a lot of things out there. It's clean. I also look at the probiotics, the supplements. I make sure that, I have all the vitamins.
Do you have a probiotic that you like specifically?
I don't have a specific probiotic. I mean, I'll be honest. I just make sure that, it's a good quality product. Trader Joe's, and I, we'll get to that. I'll pick up something at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. There are a lot of skincare products that have probiotics in them.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So, you can get a moisturizer. So those are the, I stick to collagen, vitamin C, of course. And right now, the hydration, like I've been adding those liquid hydration packs, like electrolytes to water, just so that I can be more hydrated, especially with the warmer weather.
That's what I'm drinking right now. My
there you
electrolytes.
go. There you go.
So for me, it's really about inside out.
Yeah.
A lot. I really want to take care of, inside, and then the skin itself.
Right. Then your skin gets better, and then you just put serums and all those things that just enhance. You mentioned serums. What serums do you like?
So
moisturizing
so like moisturizing serum. Was just checking out this hyaluronic serum that I picked up. So I am into making sure that my skin is moisturized. That's a big thing for me, especially going out in our weather. It's very humid, but just being out in the sun for me. So a serum is great, especially at nighttime. I love like nighttime serums. I'd laugh because there's a meme that's something like it has you looking like a glazed donut.
Yeah.
So like it's, under eyes is, and then vitamin C serums are big for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
love
the vitamin C.
serum.
I can. Your skin is so bright. It's that vitamin C too. I always notice a difference when I'm using my vitamin C when I'm not.
Me too.
It's interesting that you mentioned the allergies because I feel like a lot of people don't think about that when they're looking at their skincare routine. Like my mom has a latex allergy, and I can't tell you how many times she called me and she said, I picked up a new product and now my eyes are swollen shut because it has that in there, and she doesn't think to check for it. And like you said, also like shellfish allergies and everything that can be found in skincare.
Yeah.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that.
I got a facial, hydrofacial, and the esthetician said, like at the end, we were doing a serum. She's like, "Hey, do you have a shellfish allergy?" And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Oh, the serum that I use has like the glucosamine and chondroitin. So a lot of people take that for like cartilage and the bone and joints, but it's in the serum that she had." And she said, "I need to know because if I put this on you, you have a shellfish allergy." And I was like, "Thanks for asking." I was like, "I wonder how many people use these products and don't ask."
Yeah,
I'm sure, and have no idea
about that. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that I think people don't pay attention to. I know they don't. If you're picking up skincare, you don't think about a food allergy.
Right. No, it's so true. Okay, moving on, because I want to ask you, because I saw this on your Instagram a while ago and we were DMing about it, and I want to hear about this because we had a dermatologist on our show a while ago, Dr. Nazarian, who told us about Quo, which was the first time I had heard of it. And I was like, oh my God, I need to look into this ASAP. But I saw that you looked into it. I don't know if you got the procedure, but tell us all about it. And for reference, this is the cellulite treatment. So I got to hear all about it.
Yes. So I went, when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, like I need this.
Was it like at a doctor's office or one of those med spas?
Yeah, it was a dermatologist.
Okay.
And so I went in and I listened to it. I didn't get it done, but I did the consultation because honestly, I thought that I really needed it, but I didn't have a lot of the cellulite on my butt. So what I did have, it was like some type of dimple that may be like a birthmark, but what I was told was that it wasn't going to fill it. Like it wasn't going to do anything if I got it. So it's kind of like, all right, well, I'll just live with it. It's cute. But the way the product works is it helps to release like the fibers so that the skin will flatten out, because a lot of people think that it's fat. They say, "Oh, I'm fat," because they think only fat people can have these, these dimples or these areas. But it really works to release the fiber so that it smooths out the skin. And what's interesting is, as a pharmacist, I recognize the name of the medicine, like the generic name, should I say? And I was like, "Oh, I know that. That's another drug." And they say, "Oh yeah, it is used for something else." So I thought it was interesting that the company found another use for the medication, which is very similar. It's not the same as Botox, but you do know like Botox can be used for obviously cosmetic, but it's also used for migraines and bladder and sweating. So has a lot of other uses. So they found that this particular Quo was able to be used for the dimples, and I thought it was amazing. And there were women there who were really excited about it and wanted to use it. One of the side effects, minimal side effects, but I think it was bruising, which was, what they said. But I didn't feel like it was something that was super, it wouldn't stop me from getting it.
Did they say it like actually works? Because there hasn't been anything for cellulite that actually works.
Well, again, I mean, looking at the photos, it says they do show before and afters.
Yeah.
You do see some results, but I always I want to see somebody that has a lot of it. And
right. Like major transformation.
Someone that just had a little bit, then yeah. But if someone who had like all these areas, and then it gets more expensive because you have to use so much of the product.
Yeah.
Now, I know they said that the longevity of it's supposed to last a long time.
Yeah, I
So
was
it's
going to
not
ask
like
you that.
something that
What
you
did
would
they
like,
say? Is it
yeah.
permanent or is it just a?
They said it's supposed to last for a while. It hasn't been studied that long
Yeah.
for you to say, okay, after 5 years, like with Botox, we know, after a couple of months, you have to go back and, get the area redone. But for that, she said right now, it's just the studies, they don't have long enough studies to know if it's, permanent or not.
And how is it administered?
It's the little injections. I was like,
okay.
If I had, it's funny because I still have my my papers. So yeah, it was like it's injected and it's a package of 3. So it's like a series of 3 injections. And I know I was told that I would probably need a 4th treatment because it was like a deep dimple. So I was like, oh, well, that's the part that I really want to get rid of.
Right.
And it goes by the severity, like mild, moderate, or severe. But I mean, if someone wants to get it, I mean, I think it's worth it if you have, small enough areas.
Yeah.
It's not something that I feel like would alleviate when you would just have a completely smooth butt.
You gonna do it, Aim?
I'm gonna get a consult.
Amy looks very interested.
Well, this is my biggest complaint because I always have like dimples on like the back of my thighs and the sides, and it's always bothered me, but there's nothing you can really do about it. So when she told me about this, I was like, oh my God, that's so interesting. So yes, I'm definitely going to look into it at some point for sure.
It takes 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes is
that's
how
nice.
long the procedure
That's crazy. Yeah, I did read, or I feel like maybe Dr. Nazarian told us that like the bruising's pretty bad afterwards. So you just have to do it like when you know you're going to be covered up.
Like, so that's like that's like the photo that they that they get. So I mean, it's like that, not that bad to me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So it's like, okay,
it's hard to say.
Minimal.
Yeah. So like, I want to see someone.
Right.
And then,
you need major transformation.
I thought that I had a lot. And she's like, you actually don't have that much. I was like, oh, okay.
Nice. You're like, now I feel better. Okay.
But I mean, I always love to read and hear about like new things.
Me too.
So that was something that.
There's a new one that I want to know if either of you guys have heard about. Have you heard about LipoLite?
LipoLite?
The one that when you're awake?
You're awake.
Yeah, I've heard about that one. It's like a lipo awake or something.
It's like a light treatment instead of the cool sculpting where they freeze and they.
What you mean. Okay.
It's
like
the opposite. It's a light. I'm gonna actually go talk to and get a consult about it this week, but it's for just like if you have trouble spots, like I've got the love handles that I can never seem to get rid of. It's for that, and it's a light where the heat. I don't know that it's more of like a red light or an infrared light or the heat or something is supposed to dissolve and loosen up the fat cells. And I think it's less invasive and safer than the cool sculpting.
Oh, wow.
Which I've recently, who was it? Amy's mom sent us an article. I think it was Linda Evangelista.
Oh, yeah.
That did cool sculpting and had a horrible adverse reaction to it. Did you see that, Alicia?
No.
Oh, yeah. If you Google it, it's all over. It's,
it's crazy. It completely deformed her body. So, I mean, she was allergic to something that they were using. So that was a one-off, but yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to see if either of you guys have heard about it.
No, I saw a plastic surgeon doing awake lipo, like awake, like it was.
That's different. Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. I wouldn't want to be awake for that.
I know. You're like, knock me out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
no, thank you. That does not sound like fun. All right. I want to talk about your love yourself self-care to-do list because we see them on Instagram and I think they're brilliant. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the idea for that came about because I realized a lot of people didn't really know what to do for self-care. And I always ask, what did you do for self-care this week? And then all the answers were manicure, pedicure. I was like, okay, you know that there's other things that you could do besides that. And I'm like, oh, right. Like really what? It's like, whatever you want to do. So I started that, putting together the to-do list. For a little background, for my social media, I used to share things to do, like places, like events, what's going on in the week on the weekend. And a lot of people enjoy that. And I said, well, I want to change it up to where people don't feel like they have to go somewhere, or like it has to be like something that everybody is going to, like a concert. And I wanted to make it easy. So that I picked 12 things. It's like a little bingo card. And my followers from out of state made me realize that I have things on there that only local people can do. So think about that. I was like, okay. Right. I say, well, I'll tell them you get a free square or something. But they love it because it gives people things to do. They like to check it off. And I look for things that don't cost money, because that's an obstacle for a lot of people. They don't want to spend the money. Things that don't cost a lot, have a lot of time, because those are the two major ones. I don't want to spend money. I don't have time. And the idea is to make people realize that they can incorporate self-care into their daily lives. And it doesn't have to be something that takes a lot of time, or it takes a lot of effort, or it's hard. So yeah, I love doing those.
Yeah, I really liked it too. And I think our listeners will like it, because it's like, we're all about sort of this approachable, accessible wellness or well-being. And this is exactly that. It's like, I'm just reading a few that you have on March's list. So like, call a friend instead of texting, have brunch at a new spot, drink some water, support a local business, buy some flowers, do something fun. It's just like small, bite-sized, really attainable things that help with your well-being. So I love that. So we look forward to seeing those every month. Yeah. So make sure everyone checks that out.
It's so true. And it's to your point, like everyone, self-care, a lot of people have this idea of what it should be, and that it's usually very time cumbersome, or it's going to cost a lot of money, or very extravagant, or very, just over the top. And the littlest thing, like you just said, pick up the phone and have a nice phone call instead of a text, sit back with a cup of coffee, call your best friend and chat it up for an hour. That is loving yourself. And, those really simple things that I think some people are so busy in life, and they don't put themselves and caring for themselves first. Of course, they're not going to think that is self-care. So they're great little reminders. I really appreciate it.
And also, I wanted you to elaborate on what I had talked about in the beginning around strong women don't take breaks, because it's so true. Like this stigma of like, you got to hustle and you got to grind it out. So talk to us about how you think about that.
I ran across a quote a while ago, and it said like, there's no award for overworked female of the year or something. And I was like, that is so true. And I don't know where, I think obviously it's generational. We as women feel like we have to be busy, or we have to do all the things, even as moms, there are like there are the super moms out there, and we call them super moms because we feel like they get everything done. They show up for everybody. But I'm like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that super mom. And because if I choose to not do all of those things, that doesn't make me a bad mom. And I really wanted to change that narrative and let people understand that it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to say no. It's okay to sleep in. Like, I don't understand. It doesn't make you a better mom because you're tired all the time, and you're out all day, and you bring the kids everywhere. It doesn't make you a better mom than I am. Because I'm a rested mom, because
absolutely a rested mom is a good mom. 100%.
So that is, that's the big piece. And even working moms, you work, and we already feel like we have a lot to do and a lot to prove. And it's just like, I don't want women to feel like they have to burn out to show that they're valuable.
It's so true. I work in corporate America, and definitely I'm always looking around at the women and the leaders in my company, and the ones that are balanced, you can tell, and the ones that are not, you can tell, especially like pre-pandemic when everyone was traveling and doing all this stuff. And I could always tell the people that weren't taking care of themselves, because they would always get colds, right? They always look tired, bags, like you could just tell. And I think as women leaders, like being able to support other women and be like, take a break or do this, or like making sure that people are taking care of themselves in a work environment is so important, because I think definitely there's this mindset of like moving all the time and being busy and just not taking that step back. It's so important that we all continue to like make sure the women around us are okay and hanging in there and not, burning both ends of the candle or whatever that phrase is.
I think there's something to like, there's strength in knowing your limitations. And I don't mean limitations of what you can't achieve, but your physical limitations and what you need to stay balanced and healthy and present, so that you can do everything like actually that much better, because you do feel well and you are, when you're frazzled and like you said, burning it on both ends, it's like, that's, for me personally, that's when I start to really see my family suffers. And, it's like, it's not self-care. I wish people would not look at it so much as like a luxury or a vanity and more a necessity.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And altering things to help achieve your self-care. Like, for example, if I have a business trip, I try to go in, like if it's an early morning meeting the next day or whatever, I'll try to go in the night before so I can have some downtime and I can be rested. Whereas like some people will just like fly on a plane, go straight to a meeting, go straight to a dinner, do calls in the car. And I'm like, I just don't understand. I could not do that because it's too much. There's no downtime. And like, it's just like making sure that you're scheduling your own self for what is going to work for you and like how your body reacts. And I think the older you get, you start to realize like, okay, here's my schedule for tomorrow. Let me like figure out when I'm going to take a break and have some downtime so I'm feeling present and focused and rejuvenated. But
it's interesting that you said that, because I reached out. So I'm always about looking for ways to teach people about self-care. And I reached out to a magazine, a publication. I won't say the name, but I said, I read your magazine every time, I travel and I check into a hotel. And I said, why don't you ever talk about self-care for travelers? Or, and she's like, well, our market is, usually for business travel or recreation. I said, okay. I said, but when people travel for business, they need to know that it's okay to take a break from that too. Like you're there for your company or for work, but they need to know it's okay to have downtime too. Like it's still work. It's still work. And she's like, oh my God, I never thought about that. Well, I was like, okay, see, like,
there you go. Nice.
But it's like, you're traveling for work and it's like, I got this meeting. I have to do this. I have to pack. So it's like your mind, you're really not say, oh, I'm just traveling for business. That's no fun.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. It's funny that you say that. So I work in hospitality and travel. And so work with a lot of hotel brands. So there are definitely a lot of hotel brands now that are focused on wellness, well-being, even while you're traveling for business, taking care of yourself, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's super important. And I think like things are moving in that direction, which is great. So tell us about self-care at home, because I see all your hauls to like TJ Maxx and Trader Joe's and all that stuff. So give us some goods on that.
Yeah. So that really started during the pandemic for me, because I wasn't going anywhere. I didn't want to go to a spa. I didn't want to get my nails done at home, at a place. So I decided to just create little self-care days at the house. And my favorite places to go are TJ Maxx, Trader Joe's, Marshall's, Target. I mean, that's all women I think.
Right.
Yes.
And it also gave me a way to share that with my followers too, because you don't always have to spend the money. So I make a weekly trip to any one of those, but most often TJ Maxx. And I just browse the aisles and I find, products, the things to try. And it's not expensive. Sometimes I literally spend less than $20. I'm in there, but I'll pick up a sheet mask. I mean, there's tons of them. Bath salts, lotion, body scrubs, candles, all of those things. And then just go home and create my own little self-care space. And I look forward to it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, I picked this up. And there's a lot of brands in there that, it's favorite brands, save a little money on them. So that is totally, that's like the the highlight of my week. Like I was like, I know on Tuesdays, they used to restock every Tuesday. I know a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people knew that. They got a shipment in like every Tuesday. So that's how I used to schedule my little time in there
That's
at
funny.
TJ Maxx. And then I asked and I said, is it every Tuesday? She was like, oh, honey, we started bringing in trucks every day now. It's like, oh, I can't. But, I like to share that because it gives, other ideas. So whereas you can pick up these socks, these comfy socks and, make a plan to, okay, Friday night, I'm going to stay in. I'm going to wear these comfy socks and drink some tea. So that allows me to share other ways that you can practice self-care. So I love it.
Yeah, that's so fun.
I love that. Oh, I moved to Connecticut recently from the Cincinnati area, Alisha, and there was a TJ Maxx by my daughter's school. So I would drop her off and I would go to the TJ Maxx and do the same exact thing. Also, I would pick up kids' clothes. Like you can occasionally get
I know you find good stuff there. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. But I haven't found my local TJ Maxx yet. I need to check it out. I don't know where it is.
I'm going to look for
here
it.
In Connecticut. I need to find it.
I'll send it to you. I say, look here.
Yeah, that's
Trader
so fun.
Joe's. Trader Joe's has good stuff there. Yes, and Amy, I know you've highlighted a couple of products. So
I was just saying to Katie, like I've done a couple of reviews on the show recently that Trader Joe's products that I just like, same thing. I was just wandering down the aisles. I'm like, oh my God, look at all this beauty stuff. And they have like a great rose water spray, which is like $5 or something. Yeah. They have a really good eye cream. They have so many fun things. I was like, this is so great. I love finding stuff like that.
And you know what I did so every year for Christmas, beauty.
Oh.
So like the advent calendar.
Yeah. I didn't know Trader Joe's did that.
Yeah, they do. So I always get those. And then they lets me, so that way I can try like everything they have. And they, of course, they have the seasonal things like the pumpkin mask. So I'll pick that up. They have like this blueberry exfoliant.
Yeah. So, Alisha, tell us about your podcast. I know you launched it, I think, a few years ago now, and the community you're creating around FLY, which I love what that stands for. It's so cool.
So the podcast, it's the FLY Widow podcast. And what I realized after, shortly after losing my husband was that there weren't many outlets for widows, particularly younger widows. And I wanted a space that allowed us to talk to each other and, hear stories, because the conversations that were going on for me were from older women who were like, oh, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Or, you shouldn't, and I would never get remarried. So I felt like that's not what I want to hear as a young widow. So I wanted to be able to put that out there for other widows like myself, so that they would be encouraged and, they could resonate with a lot of things that were going on. COVID had just, picked up and just started in 2020. So at that time, it was a lot of younger widows because, their husbands were dying from COVID. So I was like, I got to put this out here. And I did. So I launched it December 2020. And but it was initially supposed to be, I was not expecting it to be like a podcast that was launching every week. I just got so many stories from women who wanted to share. So I think now I'm at like 56 episodes.
Wow,
that's amazing.
And I really enjoy it. It's a great community. I've received a lot of feedback from the widows. I think most importantly, it's showing that you can grieve and be happy at the same time, because that's something that people don't think those two things can exist together, that you have to be one or the other, because if you're happy, then that means, you don't miss your husband anymore. So I was like, that's like absurd. That's not true. So that's what the podcast is about. And I'm moving into more of my life now, and not so much. I mean, I do have widows come on, but I like to share what's going on in my life, because it's almost been 3 years. I'm ready to date. So like that part, I like to share so that we can all talk about it and know what to expect and, validate your feelings, because it's a range of emotions and I just enjoy it.
That's great. That's awesome.
Your positivity, it just exudes so much, especially in your podcast. I was listening earlier, and it's really amazing to, out of a situation that I can't begin to grasp that you experienced, that you've come out with handling it with so much positivity. Where does that come from? Were you always a very positive person?
No, I wasn't. There's a lot of life struggles for me. I was in a domestic violence relationship prior to meeting my husband. And it's just, I had gone through so much. And I think I felt like I had already rebuilt myself from like that previous relationship. And when I met my husband, it was like his personality, he was just bubbly personality, just enjoyed life. And I remembered, I shared an earlier, one of the first episodes is just our conversation. Like, I don't know if he truly knew. I mean, he had a heart attack. So it was something that was, unexpected. But I remember we had a conversation and he just said, like, if something ever happens to me, just miss me and let me go. And I was like, oh my God, like, what are you talking about? And I knew that kind of person he was, he just enjoyed life to the fullest. And sure, he may have died with regrets of not being able to visit places or do things, but he woke up and lived life every single day. Like, some days I was like, and he was an attorney. So he worked for himself and he would just pick up and say, let's go to Puerto Rico tomorrow. I'm like, I can't do that. I have a job. Like, you can work for yourself. But I wanted to carry that with me because that's how he was. And my close friends and everyone that knew him, they understand. So I know a lot of people who don't know us or didn't know us or, are looking like, oh my God, like how can she be like this? But I just know that this is what he would want. Like, he wouldn't want me to be sad. He wouldn't want me to not enjoy life. And that is where it comes from for me.
That's wonderful. I mean, you're carrying through his legacy.
Yeah.
With your positivity.
Yeah, and really, I'm sure, inspiring and uplifting and empowering so many of these widows in your community. Yeah. So they're really blessed to have you, to listen to you on the podcast and to turn to you. It's really beautiful. So congratulations on all of that.
And my son, because a lot of people meet my son and he's the happiest kid.
Aww.
Like the happiest kid. And they're like, oh, I don't understand. I tell people, kids feed off of you. Mm-hmm. So he knows how I am and he sees my personality and he is genuinely happy. He's that great personality. And it's just like, you can tell that we are really happy people. That's and great. It helps to make, and it spills on to other people too. So, I enjoy it.
Yeah, you're spreading joy. Did I hear that you did, was it like 12 dates in a row, 21 dates in a row? It was a challenge or something that you did?
So I'm working on that. I committed to do 12 dates in 90 days. Everybody's like, that's a lot. I'm like, actually, it's like one a week. For like,
right.
Not a lot. I had a dating coach on a few episodes back and we talked about it. And she said, you just got to get out there. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, get out there, have practice dates, do whatever, just so you can have conversation. And what's interesting is when you, as a widow, men will they just come out of nowhere. You're just like, oh my God. Like, and so it's like always been there where people are like, oh, let me take you out for dinner or for a drink. So it's just now that I'm like, okay, fine. You ask, okay, let's go. But the 12 dates. So when we came up with the 12 dates in 90 days, it isn't all dates with like romantic dates. It is like friend dates. It's dates with my family, dates with my son. So I want people to be able to see that, you can date yourself. So I'm putting together like a journal of like recapping dates. And when I finish, you'll see that it's a date with myself. It's a date with my son. It's a date with my best friend from college. So it's all of those dates. But I do have some dates with some guys in there. Like I've had a couple. So
how's it going?
It's going. I did learn that dating. I haven't dated. It's been a long time. Like I met my husband in 2010. So it's been like that long since I've been out of like the dating game. And so just relearning, trying to figure out things and how people think. And then also dating as a 42-year-old. It's a lot different. When you're in their 30s, it's just I just felt like I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, can we just go to listen to some live music
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So but it's fun because you don't realize how much you miss getting dressed up and having conversation with someone of the opposite sex.
Mhm.
I have my girlfriends, I have my son to talk to, but just talking to someone else about life and getting to know them. And I like that part.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome.
Good for you.
So, typically on the show, one of us will do a product review, but since we have you here, we were thinking you could give us your latest and greatest, what you're loving right now. Give us a little product review, Alisha.
So I actually, my favorite thing right now, I love masks. I love face masks, but Loops. Have you guys tried the Loops?
Haven't
I
heard of
haven't.
it.
No.
So Loops it's a clean skincare brand, but they have these face masks, and they're really it's like a gel face mask. But what I really love about them is they stay in place. Like a lot of masks, like you have to like sit up, but the way that their masks are cut out, it's like when you put them on, and I was looking to see if I had.
Is it Loops like Loops?
Yes, Loops.
Okay.
So they have the mask and then they have the under eye patches. But I love the mask because the way that they're cut out, they just go on perfectly because it's kind of like two different pieces in one. But you can like walk around the house and you don't
it's not like sliding off your face.
Yes. So it's like it's a gel, and they have different ones. So there's like a reset. There's like a vitamin C one. There's a detox. So I like those. Like you can get a package and it's like 5 of them and it's like the different ones, but I love them. So
and how long do you keep it on for?
I usually do like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Just because that's like I have like a little routine where I'll drink tea. I may read a book. So that's all like in my self-care. But that's like one of my Sunday things, like my Sunday little treats. And it's easy.
Yeah,
and
great.
So and it's kind of like when my son sees me with my mask on, he's like, okay, I'm gonna leave her alone. So yeah,
I need to try that brand. I haven't heard of it, but that's good. That's great. All right, let's get into our wrap session. So, what is your favorite wellness or beauty hack?
So, I like once I apply serums, I like to I have these little ice globes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have wands. So I like beauty tools. So I love to use like the Kanza wands, or the Ace Allergy has some ice globes. And I just sit there and I massage my face. So that's one of like my favorite hacks. A lot of puffy eyes, from crying. It's allergy season, which is approaching. And that's just something that I try to incorporate in my beauty routine daily, using the little globes, put them in the refrigerator so they're, really cold, and then just move them underneath my eyes. So like I
gotta try this. I've seen those and I've always wanted them, but I haven't.
And I mean, it's also good for, like tension headaches.
Yeah.
So I'm not only use them for like under eye puffiness, but like, if I've had a stressful day or I've had a headache, I got my eyebrows microbladed, retouched. So like I have been like putting them on there a little bit when they were sore. So those are like, that's like my treats, like the beauty tools. We have like the PMD, like the cleanser. Mm-hmm. It's like the cleanser tool, but there's on the other side, there's a rose quartz that you can just apply. I used to apply serums to your face too, because it heats up.
Oh, nice.
I like that as well.
Nice. I want to try those. I've seen the globes. I need to buy them. I use the rollers also sometimes for the tension headache around the jaw, and I feel like the globes would be good for that too, if you have a tight jaw. Nice. Okay. All right. This next one we call your 5-minute flow. You just got out of the shower and dried off. Uber pinged you. They're 5 minutes away. What are you going to do to get into that Uber on time? What are your holy grails, your go-tos to get there and ready for your day?
So the thing with me is I don't really have like an elaborate makeup routine. Like if I get my makeup done for an event, I'm going to go to someone. I'm not very good at. I can apply skincare all day long. I just can't. Makeup is not my thing. So I have my eyebrows already done. So 5 minutes. I mean, I'm totally throwing on a tinted moisturizer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's easy. It has SPF in it, and the tint. A little bit of bronzer or highlighter on my cheekbones. The cream blush, super easy. I really literally just put my hands in it and rub it on, and some lip gloss and mascara.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. Great. And like you were saying before, your skin's so good. You don't need anything.
You don't need a lot. Yeah, that's true. All right. The last one is, how do you maintain your daily nirvana? What keeps you calm and balanced?
I like affirmations and meditation. So as soon as I start my day, I wake up early, try to get up 30 minutes earlier than my son, because that's when I can get my quiet time in. So that's when, I'm listening to like meditation. I have apps, Calm app. Mm-hmm. And that's how I get my time in. And, I'm able to start the day and I'm not rushing, because, if you start your day rushing, that sets the tone for the rest of your entire day.
Yep.
I know when I'm running late or something, that's just it. But when I have that moment to just get started, and everything else flows from there.
Yeah, it's so true. When you start your day off late, it's just like it stacks. It's like one more thing.
Yeah.
Because you're behind. Like, everything's behind.
It's funny.
Like,
yeah, it's so true. I heard a podcast this week. I forgot who was mentioning this, but there was like a stat. I don't know the exact stat. I'll find it, but it was like something like the first 15 minutes of your day determine the rest of your day.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're calm, your day is going to be kind of calm and chill. If so it was interesting because I never thought about it that way, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well,
okay. So
Alisha,
where can our audience find you before we, Katie will probably close out with a mantra, but where can we find you? Give us all your deets.
Hang out on social media. Instagram is Dr. Alisha Reed. Website is super easy. It's dralishareed.com, and Twitter is Dr. Alisha Reed.
All right. Well, Alisha, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you and hearing your story. And we love all of your self-care recommendations and tools. It's just all really great stuff. So thanks. So let's close with a quick little mantra. And, I'd like to say this, Amy, I've been thinking about this lately. We use the word mantra a little like loosely or flippantly. Mm-hmm. And I just want to call out to our listeners, like, mantras can be very personal and very important, and not everything that we say every time is necessarily a mantra. Sometimes it's just a reminder or an affirmation or a quote, just something to take with you is really what we want to send you off with. So this week is self-care is giving the world the best of you instead of what's left of you. And I thought that was pretty appropriate with Dr. Alisha Reed here today. So.
Yes.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to Nirvana Sisters. For more information on this episode, check out the show notes, please subscribe, and leave us a review. Also, find us on Instagram at Nirvana Sisters. If you loved what you just listened to or know someone that would, please share it and tag us. Tune in next week for a fresh new episode of Nirvana Sisters. We'll continue to watch out for all things wellness so you don't have to. Bye.